Lawmakers have rolled the dice on gambling in recent years with a massive expansion across Chicago and the state. But instead of going to the casino, what if the casino came to you? Some lawmakers are trying to legalize so-called iGaming, or gambling on your phone, which as it stands right now is mostly against the law. And joining us to talk about this bill is the sponsor, State Representative Edgar Gonzalez of Chicago, and Dave Smith, head of the Illinois Family Institute. Thank you guys for joining us. Representative Gonzalez, right now folks can play the lottery on their phone. They can do sports gambling on their phone if they sign up with one of the sports books. What gambling is illegal, and what would this bill do?
Yeah, so at this point right now, what we're trying to do, we're trying to legalize iGaming. It's already happens in other states. It can entail, like playing blackjack, playing poker, playing slots on your phone, roulette. So most of the stuff that you can already do at the casino, you can do online. Now, there are some states that already do this. We want to make sure we can bring it to Illinois because there's a huge, tremendous financial boon that it would be to the state. Right now, there's projections that, once the program matures, we can get around 750, 800 mil to $1 billion per year. And considering the financial straits that the state is facing, it's impossible for us to ignore the financial awesomeness that this bill would bring.
All right, Dave Smith, if this is already out there, even if it's illegal, why not legalize it and take on the revenue?
Sure. Well, Illinois Family Institute is opposed to any gambling expansion, regulation or sanction of it by the state. When I was 21, I went to Las Vegas with a foster brother. Before I left, my grandmother told me, "Hey, Dave, just remember, Vegas wasn't built on winners." Now, it didn't make any sense to me until I got there and I saw the aquariums the size of garages and floral arrangements and the marble and the gold and volcanoes going off every 20 minutes. So, it dawned on me that there's a lot of losers in Vegas. And that's my point. For the state of Illinois to be successful in reaping all this revenue, it needs losers, and the state has no business creating losers of its own citizens.
All right, Representative Gonzalez, what about that? You might raise $800 million to $1 billion, but it'll be on the backs of folks that might not be able to afford gambling, or it might create a new generation of gambling addicts. How about that?
I think that, especially with sports betting and how much that already exists, there are some responsible gaming efforts, initiatives by a lot of these companies, BetMGM, FanDuel, DraftKings, all these guys who are doing their part to make sure that, they're not preying on the most vulnerable. But at the same time, too, we really had to consider people are already doing this. There are illegal operators on the market right now. You can go on your phone right now, you can download an app, and you can start iGaming right now, but none of it is regulated. These guys would be. So if we really want to make sure that we're taking care of Illinois citizens, we're making sure that they're not getting unfairly targeted. We had to make sure that we got a regulatory framework for them to be able to do this under.
Dave Smith, if this is already happening, then why not at least create some kind of regulatory framework in a limited capacity?
Well, legalization will normalize it. We already have lots of victims in Illinois. We already know that the National Problem Gaming Hotline has received 25,000 calls for help from Illinois residents. That's more than twice it was in 2022. And with more gambling in your pocket, let's call it a pocket casino, we're going to have even more people. You don't have to run to the corner store to gamble at the mini casino. You don't have to go down to Joliet or down to Chicago to gamble at the casino. Now it's going to be on your phone. And at a time that we're already talking about addictions with our smartphones, doom scrolling and such, where we're saying let's not do this. I think it's very troubling, problematic, and we need to study this out. Back in 1999, U.S. Senator Paul Simon was part of a national gambling impact study, and they called for a national moratorium on gambling expansion. That's U.S. Senator Paul Simon from Illinois. He was part of that. It would be wise if we heed his wisdom.
All right, the late Paul Simon, Senator Paul Simon, that is. And I should mention that this bill right now is in the Rules Committee in Springfield, so it's on hold right now, so we'll have to follow and see where it goes. But for now, my thanks to Representative Edgar Gonzalez of Chicago and Dave Smith of the Illinois Family Institute. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be right back after this.